A risk management plan documents which risks you're going to worry about and how you plan to handle them. First, identify which risks warrant managing. Start by evaluating how likely they are and how serious their impact would be. Rate risks by probability and impact using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is unlikely or not serious, and 5 is highly likely or extremely serious. Then multiply the probability and impact to calculate a risk score. It makes sense to manage risks that are at least fairly likely and serious. That means you need a plan for any risk with a score of 9 or more. For example, suppose older hospital computers are very likely to be incompatible with the new scheduling systems. New computers increase the budget, so the impact is very serious. The risks score is 25, so you'll definitely need to manage it. Risk 1's probability and impact are both medium. Its score is 9, and you need to plan for it. Risk 4 is fairly serious, but it isn't likely. Its score is 3, so you won't plan for it. Next, you plan how you'll handle each risk. The goal of a risk response is to plan the actions you would take to reduce adverse consequences a risk might have on your project. Here are some risk responses you can use. The easiest option is to accept the consequences. That's fine for risks with low probability and impact. Avoiding risk is another approach. For instance, changing the project scope to remove the risky part of the project. Mitigating risk means taking steps to reduce the consequences or impact of the risk. For example, by running a feasibility study, you'll have a better idea whether a scheduling system will meet the schedule, budget, and other objectives. Transferring risk means handing off the risk to someone else, like when you purchase insurance. This reduces risk but doesn't eliminate it. Insurance might relieve costs. It won't eliminate other factors like time delays. Make sure your responses aren't overkill. If a schedule delay triggers a $500 late fee, it doesn't make sense to spend $5,000 to prevent the delay. Remember, contingency time and funds can be used to handle risks that have no other response, or to handle risks you didn't identify up front. The final step in a risk management plan is defining how to monitor risks and measure responses. Create a risk log to summarize the risks you'll manage. For each risk, include a description of the risk, the events or circumstances that trigger the risk, the probability and impact, the response you've chosen, who will monitor the risk, the result you expect from the response if you have to use it, and finally, the risk status. Keep your risk plan up to date as the project progresses. Some risks become less likely as time passes. Other risks may be introduced because of project changes. Risks occur so you track what caused them, their impact, and whether your responses are working. A risk management plan helps protect your project from things that can go wrong. For practice, fill out more of the risk log in the exercise files.